All right, so we created another account called OmniGo, and we're back at 5K because the other account I pretty much evened out at 5 Dan when my losses and wins became about the same. So that's actually around my true rank, but I actually want to do some kind of like more teaching games to show how you can actually improve from DDK to like kind of like Dan level. So I'm actually using Katago to actually review some of my Dan games. That's a bad move, by the way. I'm actually using Katago to actually review some of my Dan level, my Dan level games, because I'm not going to answer that. It's perfectly fine. I guess we can just, I don't really know what to do. I mean, like, I don't want him to bisect up here, so I guess I'll just jump. Because then I can just go under. It's fine. That's actually not a good move. He's playing too slow, and this is really a problem for a lot of SDK players. Like, those moves would be good in themselves. You still have this move, honestly, and I'm going to see how he responds to this move. I don't think this is not a good move to make, but I want to know how he responds to that move. That's actually not a bad response. I'll just move back up. But there is still some Aji in the corner later on. And there's a lot of room for like co-threats. So I'm just going to leave this be and go for this corner. Because for the amount of moves that he's actually traded me, he actually hasn't gotten a lot out of those moves. That's also not a very good move. Because you don't want to fight the ko with me. You really, really don't want to fight the ko with me. Yeah, I don't understand this. Like, you're just giving me, like, free moves in the corner? I mean, yeah, it's ko, but do you really want this ko? What if I just do this? Are you dead then? Pretty sure you're dead if I just do this. And you don't have the cuts because you can just... Yeah, that was dumb. He's dead. What is he doing? What is he actually doing? I'm just going to give him that. He's not going to be able to attack any of my groups. I should probably just do this, but I'm probably going to do that. If you look on Katago, the optimal move is probably that. Actually, on this, I think if he does that again, he's just invading like random places now. He's really just invading random places. Now, since that cut's fine, I'm just going to attack him. It still doesn't do anything. And I still pretty sure I have a ladder here. That move is an obvious, like, this move here is obviously, like, bad for me. If he does this, we're just going to go ahead and do this. There's actually all sorts of problems here. There is actually all sorts of problems here. I don't really know why I did that. There's actually all sorts of problems here. Because if that basically make him like not very good at this, I'm going to go ahead and actually go down here just to prevent like some random ass Aji. That's generally not a very good move at this point. I mean, I was not expecting him to answer that. I wouldn't have answered that anyways. So the correct move here for him is to jump up or something. But if he goes down, that means I can do something like this. My group here is actually still pretty weak. He does not have the ladder on me. It's not a good move. That is not a good move for him. Because now he has serious problems. I want to attack both his groups simultaneously at the same time. And this is the best way to do so. If it was a similar strength player, if this was actually a similarly strength player, I would definitely have a lot of trouble doing this because there's so many there's actually like so many problems for me here. See, I'm just going to sack this and just kill this because that's enough for me to win. He can have these if he wants. This is just a really bad escape strategy for him. Kill this eye. He could target that thing over there, but realistically, it's not going to work. He doesn't have two eyes. And there is honestly no way he's going to make two eyes this way. That's not a bad move. It's just not one that's going to work against me.
Yoyomi now starts.
I'm just going to take this. I don't know how he's going to make two eyes. Oh, maybe I do. Maybe I screwed up. I don't know. I don't think so, though. I still don't know how he's going to make two eyes. Yeah, this is like a simultaneous attack. That's irrelevant now because I took that stone. And it doesn't matter what he does. If I do this, he's dead, essentially. Like, what's he going to do now? I mean, that's kind of useless, but... Yeah, he resigned. Now, he played this completely wrong. He actually played this completely wrong. There's no way I would have been able to kill this, but these are just like 5Q mistakes when you're actually running two groups. That's, I mean, okay, first of all, like, this isn't a very good move. This really isn't a very good move since your group's like, I don't think this is a very good move since your group's so weak over here. But he is losing because he actually did lose like this group in here. I think like just jumping out would actually have been better. So like, okay, so this is the first mistake he actually made. This is actually a fairly small move. You wouldn't answer with this down here because that gives me another initiative to do something like this. You wouldn't actually do that. A player of like higher ranking or similar ranking with me would easily do something like this. And there's very little way I can attack him. That just wouldn't really be wouldn't be a worthy move. I mean, it's very hard for me to kill this because this group isn't alive yet either. And I don't want to do this just because there's still a cut right there. I mean, I would do it anyways, but I wouldn't like it because there's still a cut right there. Or if I did this, you would just go this way, and then I would have to like make up with this group because this group's not alive yet. So I would have a hard time like dealing with this, right? There's very little way this group can die, and this group is going to be hard to kill as well. Yes, my goal is to kind of like make some territory over here while you're running, sure. So like that's probably enough for me to win, but you don't really get caught up in situations you really don't get caught up in situations where one of your groups just completely dies. So that's like a big mistake. Like this move is a big mistake. And one of the thing about lower ranked players, especially in the Q era is like when someone makes a move, they feel like they absolutely have to answer. And that's not true, especially if you use the Katago reviewer on a lot of your games. The lower rank you get, the more you realize that you didn't actually have to answer. You didn't actually have to answer a lot of your opponent's moves, and that's where your opponent gets the edge. So like this is just too slow, and it gives me the initiative. Now that's not the best move. I think I probably should have either like I should have probably like first of all done something like this maybe. I don't think he would have answered that though because there's nothing there. But like I should have maybe done something else over here. But maybe this would have been a better move to avoid the cut. That might have actually been a better move. I did want to go over here because I want to improve the strength of this group. And at this point, you would just kind of jump up. I would jump up. I would jump up. And I don't know about how good this move is because, yeah, I mean, like, you don't have a ladder here. So if you cut and I release, now you have two groups. I mean, I have two groups now, so it wouldn't be too bad. And you would just kind of, like, fight. I don't really want to do this because if I do this... If I actually do this, like, it weakens this group over here. That's why what he's not thinking of. Like, my group over here is not alive. So I'm consistently worried about this group as well. Now, I would try to jump out this group while you try to jump out those two groups. And there is, like, this little thing. Oh, wait, hang on now. There is this, like, this little Tsuji thing here if it actually comes down to it. Like... So like you can always basically cut here and connect, right? Like at this point, like, you know, I would have to just jump out here, but that's not very good because I'm still afraid for this group. Because if I actually do this and you do this, I would actually, that's not a good move because you can just charge out. I would actually have to curl, and that's a little bit slow. And if you curled over here, then I would have to immediately answer over here. And if you do this, it's still not really alive. So I would be in a tough situation right there. But, you know, even if you did this and then you just continued to attack like this middle group, it'd be very, very difficult for me to kill anything. You also have this group that's sort of weak, but not really all that weak. So this would be a difficult fight for both sides. This would be a very difficult fight for both sides, and that's much better than the result that he actually got. Because what I eventually did is I basically used that group to kill the other group. I'm not really sure I would have done that. I think this, like, cutting here, I actually do think this cutting here is pretty crucial. I definitely think this cut here is pretty crucial. Like, if you're going to do that, and I'm going to do that, you don't want me to connect. You want to cut at sometime along the line. Because this is generally not very good for me. You have to remember, like, you still have, like, this move here. And if I connect, like, that becomes a problem now. So if you do this and I do this, I mean, you win there, right? So I really can't do the connect right there. So here I would have to like do something like this. And then you have like a lot of options, you know, like that's already connected. And then you can just break my territory over here. Well, that wouldn't be good because I could like probably cut over here. But there's a lot of stuff you could actually do in the future over here. So this shape just isn't very good. This shape honestly just isn't very good for me. There's a lot of Aji here that you can actually do, and I don't really like it. So, I don't know, like, I think I would have cut. I probably would have cut. And like, when you actually like break out or something, because if I do this, I feel like you could probably just live like this. I mean, that would be... Now if you do this, though, I can just do this. So well, that's problematic. It's definitely problematic. So after doing that, like I would probably do something like this. And then this is not very clean. Like, you know, there's these moves like this, or, you know, like even moves like this where I would have to answer. And you're alive here. So yeah, that's going to be a much better result than what you actually did. This move overall, I just don't think is very good. Like, this is where all the problems started from. That move over there is not very good. A little too over aggressive. Probably just jumping out is probably the best move right now. And remember, my group over here is pretty weak. So like in the future, if I don't like answer, there's always just this. Right now, there's like stuff. There's moves like this there's moves like this I can do to help it out. But like in the future, I'm always looking at that cut. I would probably just jump out right now because this group is really weak. Like once again, this all started because like he let me have that move. He answered that move. So that was like a really bad move for him. And of course, like he probably took the worst of all the situations. He let me connect. So now this group is very, very weak because it hit like, I've been able to hit it with this connect, and this group is nowhere out of the woods yet. So it forces him to play that. And of course, I connect here. You extend, I do this, you do this, I do that. And you cannot connect here because obviously I'm just going to kill that. I'm just going to kill that. So like, you have to come out here. You absolutely have to come out here. I can't do this anyways. I mean, there's no way I can do this. Like, you're already alive, and you've already destroyed all my territory over here. So there's very little way I can do that. So that's not like, because this cut really isn't an option for me. There's no reason to let me cover. You don't really need that. You really don't need that. So you would definitely do this. And then I would have to actually answer back here. And you would actually have Sente again. Now if you want to do this, that's perfectly fine. But, you know, then like you're way, way better off. And I have very little way of killing this. But now I would probably like, you know, I'd probably do stuff like this I would probably do stuff like that to try to isolate these two groups separately. So, you know, it's a lot of exchanges, but basically, you doing this and letting me cover basically means you just gave me the group and you essentially lost. And if you were to like cut here, if you were to say like, you know, try to do this, I would probably immediately do this. And basically just look for a way to like make that group alive. Or like if he does this, I can just connect, because there's this move here that I might be able to get some good favors, but I don't think I can take those two stones down there. So I probably wouldn't connect. I would definitely do this. Maybe something like that. I don't know if this is alive or not. I don't think it is. So I definitely have some trouble there. Or like that. You'd probably have to play the ko. But that's a big, big ko for me. And honestly, like at this point, he's strong here. So instead of trying to play the group in here, I would definitely like just do something like this to make sure like this group is pretty much dead and see how I manage to live off of this. I actually don't know what I would actually do on this because it's actually quite difficult. I might eventually just do something like that and see if you like just come over the top. I don't know how this actually plays out. I really don't think it works for me all that well. Yeah, this doesn't really work for me. Does it? No, it doesn't. No, it actually does. I actually win then. So that probably wouldn't work out too well for him. But yeah, I would do something like this to see like to see what he actually does, you know, like not really sure if this works out for him or not. I think I'm a lot. No, this is dead still. But then, you know, I could take this. So there's a lot of like things to be. There's actually a ton of things actually to be considered here as well. Because now since that's there, you know, if I take this, I can fight the ko with you here. And do something like this, but then you're still not completely trapped in. So, and my liberties are kind of short anyways. Also, I can actually, I can try to threaten this, because that would be an I, just fighting that ko. If you do this, like, that's not good for you, obviously. So you would probably have to do something like this. I would obviously do this, and then we'd be fighting the ko, which, you know, it's a much heavier ko for me than for him. So trying to kill this group over here would actually be like the move to do now, because my group over here is very, very weak at this point. So he maybe shouldn't have resigned either, because he can actually try to attempt to kill this group over here. And this group isn't that strong. Or you can just try to fix this error and see how I would live over here. See, this isn't alive. I think you would have to do this. I suppose there is some skill in killing this. I'm not exactly sure how this thing fights out, but I would definitely try to kill this group over here. Because once you let me cover, this group is essentially just dead. I don't think there's too much Aji down here you can actually make it live. But this group right here, I mean, there is always like this now because of that. And maybe there's something there with this down here, but it's hard to say. But I would definitely try to kill that group. But even earlier, there's like a couple of principles. I didn't play well this game, but I knew I could win against 5Q basically on whatever I played. But so there's a few things that I want to. I mean, obviously he played the sequence wrong. Like, you can't do that. You can't actually do that. If it gets to this point, you have to play the ko. And there's not a huge amount of ko threats that he can actually use right now to actually threaten me with on that corner. So, but you know, this group is actually alive. This group is actually alive. Just like, yeah, there's okay. It's actually ko, but I mean that's basically the way you play it. It's essentially the way you play it. It's basically a ko in the corner. It's not the best invasion in the world. It's not the best invasion in the world, but it is ko in the corner. So it is a ko in the corner. That's how that plays out. But even before that, though, like this move here is completely unnecessary. This move is not very big here. I'm not going to answer that because doing this does not threaten this group, and there's no points in here. If you fly up here, I'm just going to go on top. If you go here, I'm just going on the bottom. It's going to be pretty hard for you to attack my stones, so obviously I'm going to Tenuki and just do this. Do this, I'm afraid that you're going to split my two stones, so I'm going to answer here. So I can go on top or bottom again. Then once you do, like, that is not a good move, in my opinion. If you're going to do this, like, I would just do something like this. It's much safer. There's not as much Aji there afterwards, and you secure the corner. And I think that's a decent move, although that's not the move I would actually do right now. I think like one of these moves is much bigger. So like I definitely got an advantage from him doing this and then me doing this, and then that's just simply not big enough. That is simply just not big enough at all. That's not a good move. Like any of these invasion moves, even any of these invasion moves are going to be way better than this. So him doing this, letting me, that was a bad move. I should have just like done something in the corner. I did this basically because I wanted to know how he would respond, right? I mean, that ended up being okay for me. That honestly ended up being okay for me because I got that out, but I still have the Tenuki, so I just did this. If I were playing at my other account on 5dans, I would not have done this. I'd have just fixed one of the corners over here. So like getting so many Tenukis already puts me ahead substantially. And that's actually like, if you're 5Q, yes, you do need better reading skills, but if you're actually around 5Q, like just recognizing what's big on the board right now actually goes a long way to improving your game. And it's the same thing with me even at 5dan. Like I make some moves and I analyze them on Katago, And when I actually do that, I'm like, oh, there's a lot of moves that I could have just Tenuki'd or played somewhere else, which is the optimal move according to Kata Go. So obviously him giving me several moves like this puts me well ahead of white right now. And of course, like, he's just basically playing catch up from behind. Once he kills this corner, the game's more or less over. I realistically didn't even need to do this. Like, when he flew down there, I should have just, like, done this on it. When he flew down there, honestly, I probably should have just done this. Because there's not too many points here. I'm not going to try to attempt to kill this. So that's probably the best way. I wasn't really thinking all that hard, so I just did this. And especially when it did this, I should have just like gone. I think I should have just gone over, honestly. Should have just gone over, let him have the gote, and then just done something like this. Because he's not going to be able to attack this group. He's really not going to be able to attack that group. And if he keeps going, I would just kind of keep going over here. Because, like, remember, if he actually tries to kill it, I still have this over here. That's one eye. And then he has to, like, try to kill me. He has to actually try to kill me. Like, hang on, not that. If I do this, and, like, he basically does, like, something like this, I can just do this. That's a sente, and that's one eye, and now I have two eyes. So, essentially, yeah, like, it's very hard for him to attack this corner move with just one. So, if he does this, I would just go somewhere else. He could try to pull off he could actually try, I would go somewhere like this. If he does that, I could just jump up as well. So, it's really difficult, for him to actually do this. Now, he might do something like this to try to get my influence, but as long as I get the side, I think I'll be fine. Here, he would probably do something like that, or try to attack my group. But this attack is, I think, I don't know how this would actually turn out. I don't think it would actually turn out all that great. I don't think he'd be able to kill my group, but that's what I would do. Realistically here, I would probably just do this. And I would let him do this, and then just kind of, like, fix my corner or something over here. And I think at this point, I would be well ahead as well. So him giving me him actually giving up so many Tenukis cost him the game pretty early on. And of course, like, absolutely having to answer me every time I play something is bad. Now, I play pretty poorly this game, but, like, I have enough advantages. Like, I realize enough advantages, like Tenukis against people, against, like, 5Ks, that I can actually win pretty easily just by getting extra moves that they don't understand. So that's the game for today. Hope you learned something, and like and subscribe, hit that bell notifications button, and I will see you guys later.